Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a little different. We're stepping away from the usual research papers and diving headfirst into a piece of writing.
That's right. It's a three-part lyrical work. Pretty intense stuff. We've got Naughty Talk Mixed Nuts, then part two, a comedic riddle and rant, and it wraps up with Naughty Ending's final verdict.
And our mission, if you will, is to give this the full treatment, a deep, philosophical kind of poetic analysis.
Exactly. We're treating these lyrics, which the author actually calls rap-lit-style poetry in motion, with, serious philosophical inquiry, like we would any complex text.
Even though the style itself feels really raw, almost chaotic.
Especially because of that. It's stream of consciousness, provocative, chaotic. But it's also really self-aware. Our job is to unpack that chaos.
Okay, so find the structure and the noise.
Pretty much. We'll go through the whole thing, section by section, look at the story, the wordplay, the double meanings, and, importantly, connect it all back to bigger ideas about, well, life and philosophy.
Sounds like a plan. So we're starting chronologically with the first part, Naughty Talk Mixed Nuts. And right off the bat, it seems like the speaker's setting some ground rules. Very specific ground rules.
Oh, yeah. The opening is striking. It's an aggressive demand for clarity, almost like a warning. Let me read that first bit.
Go for it.
No, but let me be very supervisor-ish, clear N over clarifying on Dale word clear. Ever so slowly, to be undermined it, so you better be on Dale up and up N. Don't ever think about wanking it. Wink, wink.
Okay, supervisor-ish clear. That phrase jumps out immediately. It's so formal, so bureaucratic sounding.
Right, but the language delivering it is anything but. It's slangy, casual, it's this immediate clash. He wants rigid definition, but he's delivering it in this, well, anti-establishment voice.
It's a paradox from the first line.
Totally, and that's where the philosophical connection comes in. It's kind of like that Socratic thing, the insistence on defining your terms before you can even start arguing.
But twisted. Like Socrates meets, I don't know, a drill sergeant.
Something like that. He's trying to weed people out, right? Separate the listeners who are going to be thoroughly thorough from the ones who are just going to skim the skeptic.
So it's establishing that tension between order and chaos.
Yeah.
Logos and Dionysus, right from the get-go.
Precisely. And then there's that line, don't ever think about wanking it. Wink, wink.
Yeah, what's going on there? It's obviously crude, but it feels like more than just that.
I think it absolutely is. In this context, demanding clarity and rigor, wanking it, isn't just about, that. It's a warning against lazy thinking, intellectual self-gratification.
Ah, okay. Like, don't just consume this passively. Don't pat yourself on the back for half understanding.
Exactly. He's policing your intent, your focus. And it sets up the later critique of that passive, self-satisfied suburban life. He's basically saying, engage fully or get out.
It's a heavy way to start. So how effective is this opening? How would you rate it lyrically?
For establishing the core conflict and challenging the listener, it's strong, very strong. Dense, maybe, but powerful. I give it maybe an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 sounds right. It definitely grabs you and sets the terms of engagement, even if they're contradictory terms. Okay, so after demanding this almost impossible clarity, the speaker immediately shifts gears. It gets messier.
It does. The focus moves from the intellectual to the physical, the visceral. He embraces the crude. He says, hashtags N all dat mess N mix some of dat Vaseline, kids, I promise. You won't lose any eyelids. Wink. It's time to get greasy N, grimy N, a little bit dirty. It's been a long time coming. Wet D's, double entendres.
Greasy N, grimy N, a little bit dirty. And the Vaseline. What's the thinking there? It sounds deliberately uncomfortable.
Oh, it is. It's a signal. He's moving into territory that isn't clean or polite. This is where he starts leaning into that philosophical realism, the idea that truth isn't always pretty.
Right. So the greasy and grimy reflects that unpolished, maybe underground style.
Yeah, and the Vaseline, I think that's about friction, making the difficult, dirty talk that's coming slide in easier, reducing the shock just enough so you don't immediately shut down, but you still feel the impact.
Makes sense. And the sorry, not sorry.
Classic non-apology. It underlines the commitment to this raw honesty. He knows these double entendres, his spelling for double entendres, are necessary. They're his tool.
So ambiguity becomes part of the truth-telling.
It has to be. He's suggesting that real meaning isn't always found in perfect clarity. Sometimes it's in the layers, the messiness. It's basically the aesthetic statement for the whole piece. Okay, we're done with the clean stuff. Now we get dirty.
How does this section land then, rating-wise?
It's crucial for setting the tone, definitely. but it feels more transitional. It's setting up what's coming rather than delivering the core insights itself. Maybe a 6 out of 10. Strong commitment, but mostly setup.
Okay, a 6. It establishes the rules of the dirty talk game.
And then bam, he immediately uses that dirty talk aesthetic to hit you with something incredibly specific and, frankly, traumatic.
This is where the narrative takes a really sharp turn. It gets personal and pretty shocking.
Yeah, this is the scene. A little bit of naughty talk in her parents' bedroom, something you weren't supposed to hear now, where you are sitting back trying to close her eyes and pretend not thinking about dad sticking her mom's with his nutsack wit, his hot poker stick shit. And let me tell you, boy, I go into, I have a little sister, HAA.
Wow, okay. That's vivid.
Yeah.
The clinical detail, the invasion of privacy, it feels designed to make you recoil.
Absolutely. It forces you, the listener, into this scenario, overhearing something primal, something you weren't ready for, and then the consequence is immediate and brutal. You're going to have a little sister.
And that ha 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 at the end, it's so dark, it's not funny, it's unsettling.
It underlines the trauma, the irreversibility of it. This isn't just overhearing something awkward. It's presented as a catastrophic loss of innocence, a primal scene.
And the language itself, nutsack, hot poker stick shit, it's intentionally crude. Why?
I think it reflects the child's perspective, right? A sudden, raw, unmediated understanding of sex. It shatters that sanitized, idealized image of family and parents.
A platonic ideal smashed by reality, as you put it earlier.
Exactly. The perfect form of family life gets obliterated by the messy, physical reality of procreation. And crucially, it's not just about sex. It's about the consequence.
The little sister.
Yeah. That arrival introduces existential dread. Suddenly, the child's position, their status, their security, it's all threatened. And that feeling, that specific fear of being displaced, leads directly into the next section's big idea.
This section feels incredibly pivotal.
Yeah.
And disturbing. How do you rate its effectiveness?
Lyrically, it's viciously effective. It uses shock perfectly to convey a profound psychological shift. It's the hinge point. I'd give this a 9 out of 10.
A 9. Yeah, it definitely leaves a mark. Okay, so this personal trauma then becomes the fuel for a wider critique.
Precisely. The shock waves from that bedroom scene ripple outwards into this major social critique. It's the hook, the core argument of this first part.
And it connects that fear of losing status being replaced by the sibling with a broader cultural entitlement.
Yes, that link is explicit. The personal fear morphs into a critique of narcissistic control, specifically targeting privileged youth in the digital age. Here's the hook. Okay, I know then you won't be. Deaf favorite kid no more, probably less loved, but that's just reality in a nutshell. Or I guess to you, that's reality just next door. There goes your toys, your allowance, and your little bitch of a whiny kid mouth saying to Nick yourself, I can say whatever deaf fuck I want attitude because it's 2025 N. I have a phone N. I'm in my bedroom N. I can tell the whole world what I think and what I want them to believe what I do. Oh boy. Nobody'll stop me because I have a brain, but it doesn't tell me to shut deaf. Fuck up when I sound like I'm from a wealthy family living in the suburbs. Superior to all does comfortably broken down poor people who shop at malls and stores.
Okay, there's a lot there. You mentioned nihilism of privilege earlier. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure.
How does that connect to the kid with the phone in their bedroom?
Well, think about it. If you grew up with immense privilege, especially combined with the instant broadcast power of the internet, it's 2025 and I have a phone, you can develop this sense that your voice, your opinions are paramount simply because you can express them.
Like, the ability to speak equals the importance of what's said.
Exactly. There's a potential disconnect from consequence, from responsibility. That's the nihilism bit, this underlying feeling that maybe nothing really matters outside your own bubble because you're insulated from hardship. It leads to what we call digital solipsism. The world revolves around your screen, your feed, your opinions.
And the line, reality just next door, really captures that insulation, doesn't it? They can see hardship, the broken down poor people, but it's not their reality. It's next door, something observed, not felt.
Perfectly put. They're close enough to judge, but too far to understand. And that whiny kid mouth represents the superficiality of it all. The performative outrage or opinions broadcast from the safety of the suburban bedroom, feeling superior to all, without any grounding in, well, reality.
So the trauma of the little sister forces this kid to confront their own entitlement because their favorite status is gone.
That's the brilliance of the structure. The personal loss illuminates the societal privilege they rely on. It's a masterful connection. This section, for me, is the absolute core of part one.
So rating, This feels like a high point.
Oh, absolutely. It synthesizes everything perfectly. The personal, the social, the technological critique. It's a blistering statement. This is a 10 out of 10, no question.
A 10. Okay, the peak of the first movement. All right, so after nailing that critique of privilege, the speaker seems to zoom out, broadening the attack to just bad ideas in general. The anger really ramps up here.
Yeah, the focus shifts from passive entitlement to aggressive misinformation. The speaker takes aim at specific examples of what they see as ideological delusion, flat earthers, creationists. The language gets even rougher.
Let's hear it.
Let me clarify for all you young guys. Let's talk about flat earth people. For a sec, they really think their world is flatter than a fucking smartphone. Holy fucking shit. Where D's crazies drop from way further up than their cribs. Don't even get me started on D's creationist theories. Mind-bending, boggling fucktards who have nothing better to do. Den too rent a degree from a fake online university. Den go talk with dat obtuse audacity. Den blow smoke up a million podcasts. Just to blast their fake ideologies. And narcissistic viewpoints suck a dick up pricks. Y'all make me all fucking sick.
Okay, mind-bending, boggling fucktards.
Yeah.
He's not holding back. But it's not just the beliefs he's attacking, is it? It's how they spread. The fake online university, the million podcasts.
Precisely. This is where it becomes about epistemology, how we know what we know. He's condemning the process by which these ideas gain traction. The rented authority from fake degrees, the sheer volume of misinformation blasted out on platforms like podcasts. It's a direct commentary on our current crisis of truth and expertise.
And that line where D's crazies drop from way further up than their cribs, what's the implication there?
It connects back brilliantly to the previous section. He's using height, ironically. They think they're operating on some higher intellectual plane, but he's saying they just fell out of their privileged cribs, their insulated realities, and landed on these crazy ideas. They haven't earned any real intellectual height.
So it links the suburban privilege to the production of these fake ideologies.
Exactly. And the attack on podcasts is fascinatingly meta, isn't it? He's using the medium to critique the medium's misuse. He's trying to differentiate his own chaotic, maybe, but rigorous approach from the superficial smoke blowing.
The rage feels very raw, very real here. How effective is this as a follow-up to the previous section?
It's incredibly effective at channeling that critique of entitlement into a broader attack on intellectual dishonesty in the modern age. The rage connects the dots. This is another really strong section. I'd say 9 out of 10.
Okay, a 9. Maintaining the intensity.
Right after that peak of fury, though, there's a sudden pause, a moment of self-awareness, maybe exhaustion.
Yeah, the speaker kind of pulls back, admits the chaos, and then immediately reasserts the style. It's a quick pivot.
First, the admission. But let's come back to that later. Probably never. Hopefully, let's get on to the next track of Dish Train Wreck of a Year. I decided not to think or even test before. I actually thought Dish shit through, but fuck it. This is just the start.
A train wreck of a year. Admitting he didn't think Dish shit through. That feels like a deliberate choice, not just an excuse.
I think so. It's that anti-teleology idea, again, rejecting planned-out, neat creation, embracing the spontaneous, the messy as more authentic, but then he immediately pivots to define that messiness.
Right into the closing of part 1. Lunatistic world and its views. I've already massacred so many talking points and now probably call my poetry West Point of Raplet style. It's dad's school of hard knocks in real life where dad jokes suck, and I'm sorry to say, but probably 90% of you are even on dat scale of homeschool shit, so you can take our pride and say fuck this guy. But if a real witter thinking south, damn, maybe we'll put a pinch of dis together and realize not all grandmas knit sweaters.
So the train wreck becomes the West Point of Raplet style. Military precision, born from chaos, taught in the school of hard knocks, not the comfortable homeschool shit.
That opposition again. Discipline versus comfort, chaos versus insulation. And the ending, not all grandmas knit sweaters.
Yeah.
What's the philosophical takeaway there?
It's a direct challenge to your axiology, your value system. He's saying you have to discard your cozy assumptions, your stereotypes of comfort and safety, like grandma's always knitting sweaters. If you want to grasp the hard truths he's delivering, reality isn't always warm and fuzzy.
And realize. That wordplay sums up the whole first part, doesn't it? Realization versus realize.
It perfectly captures that core tension. You have to sift through the apparent lies or contradictions in his style to find the real meaning. It's a final test for the listener.
Okay, so how do these two wrap-up sections rate? The break and the final statement.
The break itself, section 6, is structurally necessary but not lyrically deep. Maybe a 5, it's just a pivot.
Makes sense.
But section 7, the outro to part 1, that's strong. Great concluding analogy. Really defines the artistic brand. I'd give that an 8 out of 10.
Okay, a 5 and an 8, bringing part 1 to a close with a clear, if aggressive, statement of intent. So we enter part 2, and the title itself tells us what to expect. A comedic Ritalin rant. The chaos isn't just admitted anymore, it's the driving force.
Absolutely. The speaker immediately owns it, even frames it medically, almost. Here's the opening of part 2. Dis is a part 2 naughty talks. Oh yeah, it's been that sort of day. I'm just able to affiliate with ADHD if you're a fucked up individual like me. And if you cannot see, dis, you're a paraplegic nutcase because I am literally bouncing off D's walls with a heavy dose of comedic Ritalin with a touch of ADD. So here we go. Round 2, fight.
Wow. Affiliate with ADHD and comedic Ritalin, he's directly linking the creative output to neurodivergence.
Yeah, it's a bold statement. He's basically saying this isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a declaration of neurodivergent aesthetics. The rapid-fire, seemingly scattered style isn't a flaw, it's the engine. He's weaponizing his own mental state.
And that line, if you are a fucked up individual like me, N, if you cannot see, dis-ear a paraplegic nutcase, that's incredibly polarizing.
Extremely. It's forcing you to choose sides immediately. Either you identify with this chaotic energy, or you're fundamentally incapable of seeing it, paralyzed. It demands radical identification from the listener. Round 2, fight, tells you the verbal combat is continuing, fueled by this specific energy.
It definitely sets a different tone for this part. How effective is this framing?
As character development, it's excellent. It gives a specific mechanism, a justification for the delivery style we're about to get. It's provocative. I'd say 7 out of 10 for setting this specific stage.
Okay, 7. So the Ritalin rant begins. After setting up that high-energy ADHD-fueled state, the speaker almost immediately seems to stumble or reflect on what they've already said.
Yeah, there's this moment of candid reflection, almost exhaustion mixed with defiance. It leads to a really crucial internal moment. He says, I don't know where to go from here. I talk about kids being sad and bullies in their bedrooms. I've only wanted to do something that jumps out and touches you. Objection sustained. Holy shit, I'm getting out of sync and rearranged in my own headspace. I can't think for shit, so I just put words. That sounds sort of special in its place, but I guess that's what you do when you have nobody left to be mad at, but you,
Naughty talk.
I can't think for shit, so I just put words. That sounds sort of special in its place. That's brutally honest about the creative process under pressure, or maybe under the influence of that comedic Ritalin.
It really is. And the little objection is interesting, too, like a momentary check on himself, immediately overruled. But the absolute core of this section is that ending.
But you, naughty talk. After listing all the external targets, bullies, flat earthers, society, the anger finally turns inward. Exactly. This is the pivot point for the entire 3-part work, I think. It moves from external critique to internal reckoning. This is where we get that touch of Sartrean responsibility, the realization that ultimately the source of the rage, the target that remains when all others are exhausted, is the self.
So all the previous ranting was, in a way, a projection.
That's the implication. The 6 years of telling inner truths has taken a toll, and the final confrontation has to be internal. It adds this incredible layer of vulnerability and depth to the whole thing. It's not just noise, it's the sound of a mind grappling with itself.
This feels like a really significant moment, philosophically and emotionally. Rating.
Very significant. It transforms the piece. The vulnerability is powerful. Let's go with 8.5 out of 10 for this section.
8.5. Okay, a deep moment of self-critique. So after that internal reckoning, the speaker seems to gather strength again, but this time to define their specific artistic style, contrasting it sharply with mainstream rap.
Yeah, it's like the internal struggle fuels this powerful artistic manifesto. It's a claim to linguistic power and authenticity, he says. Nan's a loose cannon, taking shots like he's on a grand tour of the Grand Canyon. I could be putting bars down like a plantation owner, but I wouldn't be no better than another rapper looking at a digital app and collecting typical stereoistic type of words that rhyme with that category noun, pronoun, or what have. Shit, I already thought I've said this. I'm an alphabet predator of the Alpha Gym Lit letter. If I wanted to, I could go beast mode like guerrilla warfare, but I didn't pay attention in history class, so I would just be another one of these intoxicated influencers.
Okay, putting bars down like a plantation owner, that's a really harsh, provocative metaphor for controlling language. And he rejects it.
He rejects it forcefully. He's saying he refuses to exploit language in that easy, controlling way. He contrasts his method with rappers who just use a digital app to find typical stereoistic rhymes. He sees that as lazy, commodified.
Right, and his alternative, he calls himself an alphabet predator of the Alpha Gym Lit letter. What is that?
It's pure self-created wordplay. Alphabet, like the alphabet, but also alpha as in dominant. Predator, aggressive, hunting. Maybe gym literature, like strong muscular writing. It signifies this unique, aggressive, highly literary style where he's actively wrestling with language, tearing it apart, hunting for meaning.
That sounds very post-structuralist.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that meaning isn't fixed, that language is something to be battled with.
Exactly. He's rejecting prepackaged meaning, the easy rhymes from the app, and insisting on the power and instability of language itself. He's a predator of the letter, not just a user of it.
And the ending about not paying attention in history class? That feels like another self-deprecating jab, but with a point.
It is. He's saying even if he tried to use trendy historical references like guerrilla warfare, he'd just sound like another superficial, intoxicated influencer. His authenticity comes from his raw linguistic skill, not from pretending to have knowledge he doesn't. It reinforces his commitment to unmediated, genuine effort.
This is a really powerful statement of artistic identity. How does it rate?
Exceptionally strong. The linguistic creativity is off the charts, and it's a robust defense of his specific craft. This is a 9 out of 10.
I9. Defining the unique style. All right, the energy is building again. This next section feels like a culmination of part 2, really trying to nail down the core artistic philosophy.
It absolutely is. He connects his current style all the way back to childhood, defines its organic nature, and then delivers this unforgettable central metaphor for his intent.
Let's hear it.
I've been fucking wit words since I was a 2-year-old monster. Didn't think I'd be turning them into a poetry of my making, but fuck it. It is what it is. And I am what I eat, so go pop me a fucking eye so I can see how many chickens can cross the street. It's like bittersweet, these melodies that are dancing my brain ever so clearly. But it's not for me to say more to tell. I just like farting in a crowded place, then waiting and watching for that person to make that funky looking face.
Okay. Comparing his poetry to farting in a crowded place, that's something else. Is he just trying to be offensive, or is there a deeper point?
I think it's both, and that's the key. It's the ultimate definition of aesthetic shock. The goal isn't polite appreciation. The goal is disruption, provocation, forcing an authentic, unscripted reaction, that funky-looking face. He uses the crudest possible analogy to express a very high-minded artistic goal, breaking through social numbness.
So the art is meant to be uncomfortable, to make you react honestly whether you like it or not.
Precisely. And it's presented as totally organic, I am what I eat, stemming from that primal 2-year-old monster. It's not calculated in a cynical way. It's presented as his fundamental nature.
What about the line, go pop me a fucking eye so I can see how many chickens can cross the street? That feels like a weird collision of violence and nonsense.
It is. The request to pop me a fucking eye sounds shocking, like seeking some radical new vision, maybe that philosophical third eye. But then it immediately collapses into the most banal joke imaginable, the chicken crossing the road. It reinforces his method. Profound insight arises from smashing together the serious and the utterly absurd.
It feels like a perfect summary of this whole riddle and rant section. The collision of high aims and low method.
Absolutely. It nails his philosophy and method in one unforgettable, crude image. This section is incredibly effective. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10.
0.5. A very high mark for nailing the artistic core. And after that intense, almost perfect summation, how does part 2 end? With a profound thought.
Not exactly. It ends with this abrupt, aggressive, almost nonsensical joke. It completely undercuts any sense of neat closure.
Right, he says. I got a funny bone, I may have too, especially when nobody's home. Well, let me let you go with this outrageous outreach of an outro. I got a big gully. I don't like jelly, and if you fuck with me in, I'll slap you silly, HHA.
Big Belly dislikes jelly, threatens to slap you silly. It's totally arbitrary, self-deprecating, and returns to that unpredictable funny bone.
It feels deliberately anticlimactic.
That's exactly what it is. It's pure absurdism. Any expectation you might have had for a deep, meaningful wrap-up to the riddle and rant is just thrown out the window. It confirms the chaotic nature he established at the start. It's not a conclusion. It's a jarring, final punctuation mark, like slamming the door.
So rating-wise, is it effective in its anticlimax?
As an absurdist ending, yes. It serves its purpose perfectly by being jarring. But lyrically, it's intentionally slight. So maybe a 5 out of 10. It does its job, but the job is basically to stop abruptly.
A5, the intentionally jarring end to the rant. Okay, on to part 3. Naughty Ending's final verdict. After all that chaos, the title suggests some kind of resolution. And the opening feels different. Slower, maybe? More grounded.
It definitely shifts gears. The energy changes. There's a return to something more physical, more traditional almost. It starts Naughty Talk Part Final, bringing this shit to its conclusive end in DJ Scratch. Welcome to Day Madhouse, Needles on Despin, a broken vinyl prophecy. Let dyschaotic beat and rhythm finally begin.
Conclusive end in suggests maybe it's not quite a neat ending, but the DJ scratch, the needles on death spin, that imagery takes us somewhere else entirely, back to analog.
Exactly. It's a stark contrast to the digital critique in part one. We're in the madhouse, but it's framed by vinyl. It evokes this sense of cyclicality and nostalgia. The broken vinyl prophecy suggests the message might be fragmented, maybe damaged, but it's still rooted in this older tradition.
And this nostalgic feeling continues, but it's not presented as warm and fuzzy nostalgia, is it?
Not at all. The speaker immediately frames memory lane as difficult. He says, I stroll down time in my own lane, at least that's what I call it, but you can maintain a feel, a different sorter, revisited pain, a heavy dose of bass and unclear confines, listening to rap styles for the first time, my tape deck rewound. I got to go back to that track that had me like, rebirth smash.
Revisited pain. So the memory of discovering this music, the inspiration, it's tied to struggle, to difficulty.
That seems to be the core idea here. The influential art, the stuff that really shapes you, had me like, record scratch, often comes from or involves struggle. It links back to the school of hard knocks idea, contrasting sharply with the easy, comfortable consumption he criticized earlier. The physical media, the vinyl, the tape deck, they seem to embody that tangible struggle, that memory.
So how do these opening sections of Part 3 rate, setting the final scene?
Section 13 does a good job establishing the new yet old setting. Synthesizing chaos with tradition, maybe a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Section 14, establishing that painful nostalgia, it's solid, sets the emotional tone, perhaps a 6 out of 10. It lays the groundwork for the homage to come.
A 7 out of 6. Setting a more reflective but still difficult tone. Okay, so grounded in this painful nostalgia, the speaker then tries to describe the actual artistic process again. And it sounds overwhelming.
Yeah, the intensity ramps back up, but it's framed differently now. It's about legacy, inspiration, and the sheer force of the output. He says, my inspiration's haunted by day legends and day night. My Cheka echoes off the brainstem, I've told you many times, but it's always fucking mayhem. It's unclear on why I do, what I do. Like, I'm on full tilt, end dats are only clue. I spit verses so twisted, they'll leave us overcasted wit, very unclear confinements forecast in my radar spectrum, music and frequencies so in tune with reality, leaving no fucking room.
Haunted by day legends. So there's a sense of history, of pressure, but the result is still fucking mayhem, still full tilt like in Part 2.
Right. The inspiration might be historical, but the expression is chaotic, intense. And notice the paradox again. The verses are so twisted, they create very unclear confinements, yet they're also so in tune with reality that they leave no fucking room.
What does that mean, leaving no fucking room?
I think it's about overwhelming the listener. It's hitting you with such density, such intensity, such reality, as he perceives it, that there's no space left for you to be detached, to be objective. It demands total immersion.
So it's like the sublime in art. That feeling of being overwhelmed, maybe even dwarfed by the power of the experience.
Exactly. It's an attempt to force you out of your comfort zone through sheer artistic force. A psychological assault delivered through rhythm and rhyme. It's a really powerful description of his relationship with his own art and the ghosts of his influences.
How effective is this articulation?
Very. It captures that blend of historical weight and chaotic energy perfectly. It feels like a mature reflection on the process described more manically in Part 2. I'd give this 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. A strong sense of artistic mission. So if the art is that intense, how does the speaker expect the listener to engage with it? The next sections seem to address that directly.
They do. It brings back the vinyl crackle as the grounding element for truth, and then introduces this really unique metaphor for the delivery.
Let's hear the first part.
We bring it back to the vinyl crackle, spit in truth on the track. Every rhyme hits like a trickle shot, like a suggestion to engage in some sort of mental battle assessment. Old school soul in the heart of the hustle. Respect for old school fools with their old school rules, teaching me how to listen and understand what I'm getting into.
Okay, trickle shot. What is that? It sounds technical, precise.
It's likely a deliberate misspelling or adaptation, maybe related to trickle or trick, or maybe like a three-cushion billiard shot, something indirect, complex, requiring skill. The point is, the rhymes aren't just blunt force. They're delivered with this kind of complex precision.
And the goal is to trigger a mental battle assessment in the listener. So it's not passive listening.
Not at all. It's a direct challenge, dialectical engagement. The music is meant to make you think, to wrestle with the ideas. And significantly, this precision comes from respecting the old school rules, the discipline taught by the OGs. It adds another layer to the chaos. It might look like mayhem, but it's underpinned by learned skill.
That feels like a crucial clarification. And this challenging approach is then framed within a larger cultural context.
Yes. In the next part, he talks about carrying the culture's history and delivering insight almost secretly.
Right, the wisdom bomb part. Break dancers contorting, stepping in tuned with the beat, hitting day streets, then your knees. Then you look up NG, hear the old OGs hitting them keys with their harmonic piece. From Porter Street to block parties to subways in Dale, dead of night, I carry culture's trauma, then resurrected on repeat and was trying to drop a wisdom bomb without, so here comes Dale, bomb.
Bomb. It's this vivid snapshot of hip-hop history, right? From the physical movement of breakdancers to the musical skill of the OGs, he positions himself as inheriting all of that, including the culture's trauma.
And his role is to resurrect it on repeat, but subtly, like a wisdom bomb dropped without you even noticing.
Exactly. It connects back to the farting in a crowded place idea, maybe, delivering something profound under the cover of noise or rhythm. It's about cultural memory and atonement, using the art form to process collective pain and history, making it digestible, even insightful, through the beat and the rhyme, almost by stealth.
These sections feel like they're adding real weight and purpose to the whole project. How do they rate individually?
Section 16, the trickle shot and the call for mental battle. That's excellent imagery, really defines the intended engagement. 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Section 17, the wisdom bomb and cultural history. Very evocative, clear statement of artistic function. Let's say 8 out of 10.
A 9 and an 8. Really building towards a strong conclusion. And so we arrive at the final moments, the final verdict. How does the speaker choose to wrap up this entire sprawling, chaotic journey?
It's a mix of looking back, asserting relevance, and one final defiant statement about the future of art itself. It feels both conclusive and typically rebellious.
Let's hear the final words.
Now's its day, early 2000s. They said hip-hop was dead, but we resurrected it. I'm Day Ghost and Dogru, Spectre on this golden era. AI is not new style, nor will it ever be. Take dat shit to bank and check it. My rhymes are restless and apocalypse in slow versions. We brought it full circle from dust to definition. This has been Jimmy James N. My show of a bundle full of curiosity and wonder. Now I say it's out of my teaching end, my last entry on this track of no sense.
Okay, claiming to have resurrected hip-hop, positioning himself as a ghost and dog groove, that's a bold claim to legacy.
Very bold. And then that direct shot. AI is not a new style, nor will it ever be. Take that shit to bank and check it. That's a powerful statement of defiance against technological determinism.
Right. He's saying authentic, human, chaotic creation, my rhymes are restless, can't be replicated or replaced by algorithms.
Precisely. It's the ultimate assertion of human creativity against the perceived threat of AI homogenization. And then he summarizes the whole journey. We brought it full circle from dust to definition. It acknowledges the arc, the attempt to wrestle meaning from chaos.
But then, right at the very end, after signing off as Jimmy James, he calls the whole thing a track of no sense. Why undercut it like that?
I think that's the final crucial move. It's the ultimate defense mechanism, maybe. By labeling it no sense, he's reinforcing the idea that the experience, the struggle, the discomfort, the engagement is where the real meaning lies, not in some neat, definable summary or message. The value's in the process, not the product's easy classification.
Wow, so the no sense is actually the final piece of sense.
Kind of. It protects the work from being easily dismissed or categorized. It forces you to grapple with the contradiction one last time.
This feels like an incredibly potent ending. How does it rate?
As a conclusion, it's fantastic. It hits on legacy, technology, the nature of art, and self-awareness. It brings everything together while still staying true to the chaotic spirit. This is a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5. A powerful, self-aware, and defiant end. Hashtag overall summary and rating. Okay. Let's try and pull all these threads together. We've gone from that initial demand for clarity through the suburban trauma, the critique of digital life, the Ritalin rant, the internal reckoning, the artistic manifestos, the nostalgia, the wisdom bombs. It's been a ride.
It really has an incredible range, but I think there's a clear through line. The core message really is a deep dive into the cognitive dissonance of our age, the gap between privilege and reality, between digital noise and authentic expression.
And the argument is that real truth, real poetry has to be uncomfortable, chaotic, from the school of hard knocks.
Exactly. It's a defense of that messy, visceral, maybe even neurodivergent creation against the sanitized, commodified, easily digestible ideas in art, whether they come from fake universities or digital apps or potentially AI.
What really stands out looking back is how controlled the chaos actually felt. That Ritalin rant energy, the seeming lack of planning at all, served a very specific narrative purpose.
Absolutely. The structure is deceptively clever.
Yeah.
The speaker sets up impossible demands for clarity, supervisor-ish clear, and then uses total mayhem to actually achieve a kind of profound, unsettling clarity. That's the genius of it.
And the contrasting imagery was so strong. The hot poker stick versus the trickle shot, the suburban bedroom versus the subway at night.
Yeah, the way it juxtaposes those worlds, those values, is incredibly effective. And the meta-commentary attacking podcast while creating this dense work, perfect for a podcast deep dive like ours that adds another layer of complexity. It succeeds precisely because it embraces contradiction. It's rigorous and nonsensical.
So overall, putting all three parts together, considering the ambition, the execution, the philosophical depth hidden in the slang, what's the final verdict, the overall rating for this entire triptych?
It's an exceptional piece of work. It pushes boundaries, demands engagement, and uses its abrasive style to land some really profound points about modern life, art, and authenticity. The way it blends high philosophy with low culture, intense vulnerability with aggressive posturing, it's remarkable.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's challenging, sometimes infuriating, but undeniably powerful.
For its sheer ambition, lyrical creativity, structural innovation, and philosophical depth, I think we have to give this a very high score. Overall rating, 9.6/10.
9.6. A truly significant piece of rap-lit poetry in motion. #LUTRO.
And maybe this leaves us with one final thought, picking up on the artist's contradictory style. He talks about dropping that wisdom bomb without you noticing, about the aesthetic shock of, well, farting in a crowded place.
Right. The goal is that uncomfortable, authentic reaction.
So maybe the question for you, the listener, isn't just what did these lyrics mean? Maybe the real question is, what uncomfortable, authentic reaction did this force me to have? If the art is designed to make you confront your own expectations and discomfort, maybe the Naughty Talk is less about his message and more about your response to it. What did it reveal about you?
That's definitely something to chew on. A provocative place to end, indeed. Thank you for navigating us through this challenging but incredibly rewarding text.
My pleasure. It was quite the journey.
It certainly makes you reconsider what poetry can be and where sense can be found, especially in today's noisy world. We hope you found this deep dive into the madhouse stimulating. Join us next time on The Deep Dive.